In this presentation, I will be discussing, analysing and comparing social media policies. It's hard to believe that just 20 years ago, social media policies didn't even exist, and now there are jobs solely dedicated to their formulation and administration. For the purposes of this presentation, I will be exploring and critically analysing the social media policies and practices of 3 Australian organisations. They each have varying corporate structures with a large range of staff engagement, very different online presences, and each has quite a significant role in the Australian community. They are the national broadcaster, the ABC, telecommunications giant Telstra, and support agency and advocacy group Lifeline. But first, let's have a look at the importance of social media as a way of reaching clients and customers. Since the inception of social media, companies and organisations have been either trying to ignore it, trying to work out how to make money from it, or attempting to incorporate it into their business in a bid not to be left behind. A 2012 Nielsen survey in the United States found that the amount of time people spent on social media increased by around 33 billion minutes between July 2011 and July 2012. It's crystal clear that social media is here to stay and can't be ignored. So how important is social media for business and organisations? One school of thought is that it's just another opportunity for business to get through to potential customers, and in the case of really successful campaigns, have them share and disseminate the message that they're trying to sell. According to Hanley and Chapman, engaging in social media turns every organisation or business into a publisher of sorts. And in publishing, content is king. That means creating great content for social media that has purpose for your clients, that is reliable and trusted, that is cultivating a base of followers or fans, and that is arousing passion for your products and services. So now we know why social media is important for business, but how do we go about managing social media? There are really 2 issues to take into account here. They are social media being engaged as part of work or business processes, like using Twitter to promote the release of a new product or service, or to alert customers to an event or special promotion. The other is staff engagement of social media, either in their role as an employee or in their personal lives, which may have an effect on the company or organisation. So let's move on now and have a look at social media policies themselves. In general, social media policies act as a guide or rules for employees. They are usually a written set of guidelines detailing how staff and employees can interact with social media while at work or in their capacity as an employee. Many also provide guidelines for personal social media engagement and its relationship to the workplace. Some are simple, just a couple of pages, but some are very complex and detailed, incorporating, for example, other corporate guides like codes of conduct. Most commentators agree it is absolutely critical for employers to develop and put in place an effective social media policy. So what should be included? Workforce Management magazine says the first goal of any social media policy should be to protect the company. That means the company or organisation's policy should say specifically what cannot be discussed on social media, as opposed to saying what is acceptable. This kind of information includes customer information, proprietary information, corporate strategy, product or any other information which hasn't yet been released publicly. Secondly, it says appropriate behaviour needs to be defined. Things like not using profanity or engaging in cyberbullying. It must point out that sexist or racist comments are not acceptable. And it must say that the policy applies to an employee's personal social media interactions. Next, the business or organisation must let staff know that it is monitoring or watching their social media use, and it must detail what the process is if the policy is broken. Staff should always be aware of what can happen to them if they post something which is in violation of the policy. Lastly, employees should be advised why the policy has been put in place in the first place. Another view in determining best practice models for social media policy is to foster a culture of openness and listening between staff, management, departments, and as well as clients and consumers. Also, organisations should be training staff in how to blog, tweet, or post effectively, to be transparent in what is being posted, and to, above everything else, be accurate.